Deep underground military bases are a sort of Tower of Babel not to reach heaven, but designed to reach the other place. This and other observations on The Daniel Natal Show. In philosophy, we talk about the difference between the real and the apparent. Most initiatives that the powerful advance give you the apparent reason, but just behind that is the real reason. Most of what we see are the pretexts, the talking points, the propaganda by which they manufacture consent for coming changes. One of the pretexts masking upcoming social change may be coming to us under the guise of sustainability. The World Economic Forum famously said, "In 10 years, you will own nothing and be happy." Part of that platform is the sustainabilities movement concept of what they call the circular economy, in which you won't own anything, you'll merely license it.
Living systems have been around for a few billion years, and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. We accept that the living world's cyclical model works. Can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy? One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers.
I was just reading a book by Eswar Prasad called The Future of Money. In it, he talked about the emergence of technology and digital blockchain ledgers that make things like cryptocurrencies possible. Central banks are ready to jump on board by creating their own central bank digital currencies. 9/10 of the power of government resides in their control of the currency. In our own Constitution, Congress, the People's House, is supposed to be regulating our currency. Well, what happens if the government no longer controls this? Answer: the people will no longer control this. Private central banks will pry that power away and will wield it without any oversight or appellate process. Catherine Austin Fitts sounds the alarm about this development.
Under the guise of a health emergency, we're watching the central banks take over the treasuries and the finances of sovereign governments, and sovereignty of governments being imploded. And we are at a juncture where, as Vera says, we have to stop something. We have to do something, because we cannot let this proceed. If we allow not just the mandates, but the vaccine passports or digital IDs or any part of what is considered to be the financial transaction control grid go into place, the combination of those systems together, much of which have been developed for the last 30 years, those systems together will combine into a control grid that can turn our home and our cars into a digital concentration camp. It's what Vera said. We don't need camps. We can use the remote technology to literally turn our own homes, our own cars, and our own communities into digital concentration camps. So we must say no. We must say no to the mandates, but we must say no to the transaction control grid, because that transaction control grid can be used to implement thousands and thousands of meta mandates when it goes into place. You put the passports or the IDs and the CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, together, and they can, if they decide you can't transact more than 5 kilometers from your home, you can't transact more than 5 kilometers from your home. If you can't, if they don't want you driving your car, you can't drive your car. If they don't want you buying pizza, you can't buy pizza. And you will see a 56-second video of the General Manager of the Bank of International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland, the central bank of central bank, explain that with CBDC as a replacement or a digital currency, they can make the rules of how the currency is used, and they can enforce the rules centrally. Let that sit in centrally. So one great activist said that the implementation of the passports is the end of human liberty in the West, and that is in fact true if we let this control grid go in.
Since the central banks will be creating the currency, they can create new rules around it. As Catherine Austin Fitts points out, imagine if you infuriated the oligarchs and they would only let you buy within a 5-mile radius, or if they forbade you buying pizza. This sounds preposterous, but it's already happening in China under their social credit system. If algorithms have analyzed your online activities and listed you as a dissident, there's a different ringtone for you if you phone people, letting them know that you're on the outs with the regime. Likewise, if your social credit number falls below a certain threshold, you can't buy certain luxury items from the supermarket. You're also banned from taking vacations to certain regions. We're heading toward a system whereby if you really outrage them, they can shut off your money altogether. We've been so used to the paradigm of having money and being able to use it any way we like. But if you earn it, yet someone else can dictate how it's used or can turn it off altogether, doesn't money itself become like the circular economy's licensing model? You thought you owned the money you earned. No, instead you're merely licensing it. This is a terrifying development, but that's where certain global power brokers want to go. In the 1990s, Aaron Russo was told by Nick Rockefeller that the end goal was to get everybody hooked up onto the cloud. Rockefeller said that if anyone stepped out of line, their chip would merely be turned off. Russo, in his documentary America from Freedom to Fascism, shared an example of what they envision.
Pizza Palace, guaranteed hot in 30 minutes or it's free. This is Mary. May I take your order?
Hi, Mary. Yes, I'd like to order.
Is this Mr. Kelly?
Yes?
Thank you for calling again, sir. I show your national identification number as 610-204-999-8-45-54610. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. I see you live at 736 Montrose Court, but you're calling from your cell phone. Are you at home?
I'm just leaving work, but I'm...
Oh, we can deliver to Bob's Auto Supply. That's at 175 Lincoln Avenue, yes?
No, I'm on my way home. How do you know all this stuff?
We just got wired into the system, sir.
Oh, well, I'd like to order a couple of your double meat special pizzas.
Sure thing. There'll be a new $20 charge for those, sir.
What do you mean?
Sir, the system shows me that your medical records indicate that you have high blood pressure and extremely high cholesterol. Luckily, we have a new agreement with your national health care provider that allows us to sell you double meat pies as long as you agree to waive all future claims of liability.
What?
Do you agree, sir? You can sign the form when we deliver, but there is a charge for processing. The total is $67 even.
$67?
Well, that includes the delivery surcharge of $15 to cover the added risk to our driver of traveling through an orange zone.
I live in an orange zone?
Now you do. Looks like there was another robbery on Montrose yesterday. You could save $48 if you ordered our special Sprout Submarine Combo and picked it up yourself. Comes with tofu sticks. Those are very tasty, sir. Good value, too.
But I want double meat.
Well, I'm sure you can afford the $67 then. You just bought those tickets to Hawaii. They weren't cheap, eh? Oh, but I see you checked out the budget beach bum at the library last week. Up to you, sir.
All right. I'll get the Sprout subs.
Good choice, sir. Gotta watch that waist if you're hitting the beach, eh? 42 inches. Wow. Man, I'd say tofu and sprouts is, like, required.
That's how much?
Just between you and me, there's a $3 off coupon in this month's Total Men's Fitness magazine. Your wife Betty subscribes to that, right? Anyhow, clip that and it's $19.99 even. Whoa, looks like you maxed out on all your credit cards. Bring cash, okay?
Some people, and some very powerful people, want this to be the new system for the 21st century. So with private companies taking away your money and making you license it, your government will no longer have control of it, which means you will no longer have control of it, or your privacy. Ben Franklin said that the real reason the American Revolution happened was because Americans wanted to control their own money. He wrote, "In the colonies, we issue our own paper money. It is called colonial scrip. We issue it in proper proportion to make the goods and pass easily from the producers to the consumers. In this manner, creating ourselves our own paper money, we control its purchasing power, and we have no interest to pay to no one." So the chief purpose of the American Revolution was so that we could control our own money. By giving that power up, are we undoing the revolution? Are we giving away rights and powers that our forefathers fought and died for? Will we, born as free men, end up as slaves once again? Pay attention to the term central bank digital currency, because once this gets rolled out, you'll be on the cusp of that brave new world where, as we're told, you will own nothing and be happy. If you've gotten this far, you must be partial to our content. If you haven't already, head to thenewamerican.com and subscribe to our print magazine, published twice a month and daily online. It's the essential news source for freedom-loving Americans. The New American Magazine is guided by our support of the U.S. Constitution and the principles upon which the Constitution is based. We want to restore and retain the values and vision that made America great: limited government under the Constitution, the freedoms our Constitution guarantees, and the personal responsibility a free people must exercise to stay free. To learn more, subscribe to our magazine. Visit thenewamerican.com.